Latin Mass under your vigilance, as it were. And that should have been just a formality. Normally the bishop would say, oh, will you please come into my diocese, help me save souls, because when I die, I have to answer for all these souls in my diocese. And if you come to help me, we'll have more people being saved. I mean, doesn't it stand to reason you'd want priests to help you? That's why, you know, when we started our order, that was the original plan. But bishops all over the whole world said, no, we don't want you. In fact, you're not Catholic anymore. That's just incredible. You know, that's what happened. So, but that was in the original intention of the archbishops, to have the priests be incarnated into a diocese. Like, you know, you have the church run by the Dominicans in town, or the Carmelites, or the Jesuits, and, you know, but they run to the bishop. Normally it's just a formality. May we come into your diocese? And we say, sure. Then they bring the 3 or 4 bishops, they have their church, and they run that church, but in the diocese with the permission of the bishop. That's normally what we would do. You know, and then in the diocese that are important, you say, well, where does Society of St. Vincent have their chapel? So there's one here, one over there, one over there. And it's, oh, well, we go to the Society Chapel, the others, we go to the Dominicans Chapel, we go to the Carmelites. See, it would have been a happy family, right? But the devil didn't want that. He attacked us, so we have to say masses because the obligation is from Christ himself to keep the faith and to preach the gospel to every creature. And the people have an obligation to save their souls, so you have a right to receive the true doctrine and the sacrament. So it's like the church herself gives us the power because it comes from Christ's command. But this is just a very exceptional situation right now, but nothing else we can do. It's a crisis. So that's why we pray hard for the Pope to help. Perhaps we can bypass the bishops who don't want us in the diocese, and the Pope will say to the bishop, they have their authority from me. And anyone in your diocese can go to their church. That's really the solution. That's what we're praying for. To be in an order of pontifical right, you know, directly under the Holy Father. So pray that the Pope will be strong to be able to make this the law. So, what are some of the requirements for a man to receive holy orders worthily? Well, that means not to commit a sin when he receives it, right? You got to be in a state of grace, right? So, some of the requirements are: he has to have a good character. He has to be known as a man of virtue. If a man cannot stay in virtue habitually, cannot stay in the state of grace habitually, normally he cannot be a priest, because how are you going to be saying Mass every day? For giving sacraments, you can't be in God's grace in doing that. So those who want to lead a religious life, perhaps they want to conquer themselves so they can stay in the state of grace and fight the old dragon in the world, the flesh and the devil. They can become monks, brothers, monks in the monasteries or nuns in a convent. Sure. That's what it's for, to be able to conquer the world, flesh, and the devil, to be able to die in the state of grace. So imagine if, everyone's ready for church and Father comes in and he's not vested for Mass, and he says, rings the bell, sorry everybody, there's no Mass today because, sorry, I watched a bad movie last night and I can't say Mass today. What do you mean? Father, you have an obligation to be able to say Mass for us. You better be good, you see. So, that's why. Pray for your priest, right? The devil will attack the priest more than he will attack you, right? So the young man must be of good character, good, upright. Could be maybe he led a bad life, but now he's leading a good life, like St. Augustine. He converted, right? And then start leading a good life. So that can happen, sure. But at the moment when he wants to become a priest, he has to be able to stay habitually in God's grace. A virtuous person, a good person, morally upright. So people will say, oh, it'd be great if he can come back here and be a priest in our church. Instead of you saying, boy, I hope he doesn't come back here. He's just a stuck-up boy and wants to control everybody. Is he going to be a good candidate for the priesthood? No. So an excellent character, he has to have the prescribed age, the necessary learning. Prescribed age, according to the law of the church, is 24. He cannot become a priest unless he has turned 24. Unless there's this, validly he could, but lawfully he has to be 24 years old or older. Unless there is a special dispensation made by the Pope or the bishop. And to become a bishop, I forget what age you have to be to. There's normally a law. You have to be a certain age before you can become a bishop. But those are the formalities, like the laws of the church, which don't bind in the case of a necessity, of course. You know, if you have a younger bishop. But. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I must have the sufficient learning so we can teach you the faith. Right? So you're in confession, you say, Father, can I ask you a question? Sure. So, Father, what are the holy days of obligation in the United States? I can't remember. You know, I don't know either. Come on. You want to be like, if I know, in a case like this, what should I do at home? You know, my husband or the wife or the kids. And, you know, gosh, got me. Your guess is as good as mine. Come on. The priest needs to know a little bit so he can be your teacher. He can be your teacher. And you expect that of him. As if you went to a doctor. Doctor, I just don't feel good right here. Every time I lift my arm, it just kills me. What should I do? Well, don't lift up your arm. What kind of doctor is that? You say, well, let's see what's wrong. He needs to know. You know, I haven't studied that yet in my spare time. When I get to it, I'll let you know. So you do expect that in the priest, the knowledge he has to know to be a shepherd. And of course, what the church has always, especially in the last century, in this century, in the Pius X, Pius XII, they've encouraged so much. In fact, there's even a law in the church about the philosophy and theology of St. Thomas Aquinas. Because it's very clear, very Catholic, and it helps straight thinking. You can think straight. Everyone uses the same words to mean the same thing, so you know what you're talking about. Right? And that's what's been abandoned in the modern seminaries. Well, we don't need St. Thomas. That was Middle Ages. Well, Christ was 2,000 years ago. Is he too old for us? You know, the truth doesn't change. You know? He must have an intention of devoting his life to God and to the ministry, which means that the priesthood is not a job. Oh yeah, I'd like to be a priest. That's his job. You know, I only have to work 3 hours a day. Then I'm off the rest of the day just to have fun. No, priesthood is a life, and that's why a lot of the modern priests perhaps are having difficulty, because they've lost the sense of the life of the priest as a sacrifice with Christ, all from morning till night. You know, imagine if you call at 8 o'clock at night, or you call at 6 o'clock and the priests are having dinner. You say, oh yes, my mother's on her deathbed and she's asked for the priest. Okay, you know, I'm sorry, we're having dinner now. You go back to work tomorrow morning after 8 o'clock Mass. Father, that's not right. So you see, the priest it's a life, right? Phone rings. Finds his phone. 3 a.m. Father, this is Mr. So-and-so. My dad has had a bad heart attack and he's dying. And could you come and see him at the hospital? Be right there. No, you get up. Because it's a life. It's the life. The priesthood is a life. It's a state of life. And there are probably many young men, young boys, who would feel inspired to want to sacrifice themselves to help save people. So parents, just be the good example in your home of little self-sacrifice in your daily duties. And your children will see that. They sacrifice what you want to do for them. And they'll have a disposition of self-sacrifice. I mean, even to get married, a man has to have this disposition of self-sacrifice. So, but the priesthood requires that disposition already in the home. And then, of course, as I mentioned, the other obligation is the state of grace. A man cannot become ordained a priest worthily on the day of his ordination if he's in mortal sin. The night before the priesthood, they all get together, they all go and have a big binge drinking party, and they all get drunk. Next morning, oh, what the heck? Well, time for the ceremony. If they're in mortal sin, is it going to be a valid ordination? That's a trick question. If they're in mortal sin, is that going to be a valid ordination? Is it going to be a worthy ordination? No. Okay. Same thing as say if a person commits a mortal sin on the day of confirmation. He goes, I should go to confession first. Oh, he doesn't do it. And he gets confirmed. Is that confirmation valid? Yes. Does he receive the grace of the sacrament? No. Is the character imprinted? Yes. Well, when does the grace come in? As soon as the obstacle of mortal sin